Hello my friend, how are you getting on? Are you well? I hope you're doing just fine, and you're welcome back to my blog, to my new blog, easyidioms.com, and I'm Robbie from EnglishHarmony.com, which is my main blog, and then there's the third blog called AccentAdventure.com. So as you can see, I'm very busy running all different kinds of blogs, and I'm currently working on creating a new product on top of my existing English Harmony system, which is a great product for anybody who wants to improve their spoken English. So if you struggle with your spoken English, with your English fluency, with your ability to verbalize your thoughts, then you're welcome to check out my product. And you can click on this link and you'll be taken to the product sales page. But by no means I'm forcing you into buying the product. If you're really interested, and if you're truly serious about your spoken English improvement, then you may buy it, try it out, and I have a 60-day money-back guarantee on it. So if you're not satisfied with the product for any reason at all, you may just request your money back, and I'm going to go ahead with a prompt and courteous refund. It's guaranteed. But enough with all this advertising. Let's get down to the business and let's cut to the chase, which are all idiomatic expressions, but we're not going to focus on them. And today's phrase is not so dissimilar from. And this is a typical collocation. And the basic difference between a typical collocation and the phrase is that you won't actually hear these collocations being mentioned in your typical phrase compilations, any colloquial phrase books or handbooks or whatever kind of phrase compilation you're going to be looking at. They're all going to contain phrases, ready-to-go sentences, kind of, like the ones I've been publishing on my easyidioms.com blog and on my English Harmony blog and on my YouTube channel. Come in handy. You may as well, pretty much the same. They're all phrases that you can begin your sentence with, and they're kind of standalone sentences more often than not, And more often than not is a typical phrase again, more often than not. It can't be really used as a standalone sentence, but you may as well just look at it that way, and it wouldn't be grossly wrong, But this collocation, not so dissimilar from, you wouldn't probably think of it as your typical phrase, but it is a very valid collocation, and it's used by native English speakers on many occasions when they want to describe that something is quite similar actually to something else, So quite similar or similar to would be another way of describing this collocation. Not so dissimilar from, but you definitely may want to learn this particular collocation, repeat it, learn it, not so dissimilar from, not so dissimilar from, and use it in your conversations when, as I said a couple seconds ago, when you want to describe that something is actually quite similar to something, so it's kind of describing the same concept with the opposite. Quite similar to, not so dissimilar from, same thing, but it's just that if you learn this particular collocation, you will sound more native-like, you'll sound more intelligent, smarter, your English is going to improve, and over time, when you amass a very good number of such and similar collocations, your speech is going to sound very good indeed, It will all add up, and it's going to basically snowball into a massive fluency improvement, That's why I said snowball. It's another it's figurative speech, whereby you imagine a snowball rolling downhill, and as it rolls, it gathers more snow, it sticks onto it, and basically the snowball becomes a massive avalanche in the very end, and the same goes with your fluency. You begin with learning a couple of collocations here and there, a few phrases, but then over time, the effect is accumulative. Over a couple of years' time, your fluency all of a sudden becomes very, very good. And you become a truly fluent speaker just because you've been learning these phrases on a daily basis. And now, I'm probably talking way too much about things not related specifically to this collocation, this video, but anyway, let's look at a couple of sentences of how you could use this particular phrase, not so dissimilar from. Let's say, for instance, you talk about a particular person with someone else. You're basically gossiping. You're discussing that person's merits or traits or drawbacks or what they've done wrong or what's so wrong about that person in your opinion in general, so basically you're gossiping, and it's not a good thing. It's not to be condoned by any means, but sometimes we just cannot refrain from it. We're all human and we all have our bad characteristics, and gossiping is probably one of those, and it's actually said that men gossip even more than women, even though typically gossiping would be associated to women, right? But I think and I believe that actually it is true, my own observations actually confirm that men gossip even more than women sometimes, They just get away with it, because they kind of hide behind the manly facade, the outer appearance, as if, being a man in itself is above any petty matters such as gossiping and things like that, but it's not the case. So let's imagine you're having a conversation with your work colleague about someone else, and then you're saying that you thought that Carl was a completely different person, but he's not so dissimilar from Frank, he's the same bastard, and I don't even want to talk about him anymore because he treated me like dirt, and basically they're not so dissimilar from each other. So here's a typical example of how you would use that phrase when you're saying that someone or something or whatever, some abstract concept even, that something is not so dissimilar from something else, they're the same, they're equally as bad, or it could be the other way around, it could be quite the opposite. They might be equally as good, But even though I said that they can be equally as good, I think that this particular collocation is not used in that context that often, it carries a different connotation, probably of a negative nature more often than not, so you may want to use this particular English collocation not more often than not, but not so dissimilar from, when there's some negative talk going on, you're bashing someone about their bad qualities, bad traits, what they've done wrong, how they treated you, so then you can say that that person is not so dissimilar from someone else who you knew being a bad person, but you had different opinion of this friend of yours, and now it turns out that they're the same, they're not so dissimilar from each other. And here's another example. Let's say, for instance, you're wondering what it's like to use a tablet computer, You're probably like me, who's never actually tried a tablet computer. I've actually held it in my hands, but I don't own one. I'm still the old school believer. I believe in laptops and PCs. And currently I'm working on a laptop, and I'm kind of wondering what it's actually like to use a tablet computer, one of those touch screen devices. But I'm guessing that if I tried one, then as far as the functionality goes, using a tablet computer it would be not so dissimilar from using a laptop, or a touchscreen phone, which I've been using before, It's just the whole concept seems a bit too alien to me. I kind of can't wrap my head around the whole thing. I think why everyone is so excited about those tablets, why just not keep using laptops, Because that's what I'm used to, and I don't see any advantages in using a tablet computer to using a laptop, But if I tried one, I would probably discover that it's not so dissimilar from using a laptop, in a sense that you can do pretty much the same thing. You can go online, you can check your email, you can check your social websites such as Facebook and others. Well, there's really Facebook I'm using. There is no others, everyone says these things, Facebook and others. but 99% of people probably use Facebook only. So basically you can go on Facebook, check your email, browse the internet, visit websites you like, go on YouTube, check out my videos, such as this one you're watching right now, and there's a good chance that you're probably using one of those handheld touchscreen devices, such as a tablet computer, Can you really say tablet computer? Is that a valid collocation? I'm not really sure. But correct me if I'm wrong. You can say that actually, and correct me if I'm not wrong is my previous video of idiomatic expression nature that I published a couple days ago. But anyway, this video is getting way too long, my friends, so I hope you get the drift. Not so dissimilar from can be used whenever you describe something that is quite similar to something, More often than not, you'll be using it in a negative context when referring to people, when you're saying that this or that particular person is actually not so dissimilar from someone else, and they're just as bad, than that person, or when talking about some abstract concepts such as using different pieces of technology, such as tablet computers. You can say that it's not actually so dissimilar from using a laptop, or you could actually talk about skills. Say, for instance, you learned a new skill which you were actually dreading to do, you were all against it, you thought that it was going to be a dreadful experience, and then you learn it. Say, for instance, you do a parachute jump, and you basically overcome your fear of flying and from heights and jumping out of the plane, and you do a parachute jump, and then you land, and you're exclaiming then by saying, why it's not so similar from going to a theme park and getting onto one of those crazy rides and going into a free fall. It was pretty much the same thing, it's not so dissimilar, so I can't see what's the big deal about it, I've been doing parachute jumping from now on regularly, every year, every 6 months or so, for as long as my budget allows me to do it, so it's not so dissimilar. So, and this was the third example, the third sample sentence on using this collocation. So on this note, let's finish this video, and thanks for watching it, and see you soon again, my dear fellow foreign English speaker. Bye-bye.